PSA for people in every martial art, whether you're experienced or right at the start. It's an important message, if you so please, and it's that you must remember to bend your knees. Hey friends, Lauren Danger here with a public service announcement, and that is if you're doing any kind of martial arts, please remember to bend your knees. One thing that teaching new people, and even people who've been at it for like a year now or even a bit more, notice that people don't bend their knees. Or at least they start in the proper stance, but then they are upright, extended, tippy-toed in engagement. And this is going to ruin your center of balance, and you're probably going to fall over. And I've seen it happen, people doing some casual sparring, they got all the gear on, someone comes in and up too high. And what happens? Down they go. What do they say? Ass over tea kettle? Yeah. I don't know what they say. But people fall down. You need your balance. And it's important to work on your balance and to bend your knees because it's going to help you prevent injury. Because you're not going to fall over. You're not going to wobble. So, a couple things to do. I'll try and step back a bit. Hopefully the microphone still picks me up. Okay. So, a lot of times when I'm standing around, my co-instructor wants to demonstrate something, so I help out, or I'm demonstrating something and waiting for him. I'll actually sit there in a stance, and I'll just wait, and I'll have my knees bent, and I'm trying to be a good example for our students, so I'm bending my knees. Now, I don't have to bend and squat all the way down, of course. We'll talk about squats in a bit, because they are useful, but let's just look at basic longsword, shoulder bomb tog, German style. My knees are bent. Now, a good exercise you can do to see whether your stance is good, whether your feet are in the right place. If I move back a bit, you can kind of see my feet. Close your eyes. What? Stand in the guard position, or whatever it is, and close your eyes. So, European martial arts, we're talking about weapons, but it could be any kind of martial arts. And, feel your balance. Bend your knees. If you're up like this, and you're trying to hold a position, you might feel your hips swaying a bit. You might feel a little wobbly. Bend your knees. You drop that weight a little bit. Your center of balance comes down. You lock right in. And then you open your eyes and you look at your feet and you make sure everything is good. If you're having problems when your eyes are closed and you're balancing, then you need to check where your feet are, okay? Because as you bend your knees, you need your feet in the right place and stable. So it's a little, mostly it's bend your knees. But it also goes to your stance, your footwork. All of these things matter. But bending your knees. And we'll talk through a few different weapon types here. But this can apply to any martial arts system from anywhere in the world. I mean, maybe you've done karate and had to be in a horse stance and hold it. And I could, probably hold this for a minute and talk to you about it. It's not comfortable. But you've got that horse riding, I'm on a saddle kind of stance. That's why they call it a horse stance, right? Your feet are pointed forward, and yeah, sure, I could sit here, I could get lower in the stance, I could do all sorts of things, but my point being, get used to having that bend to your knees. And as you move, your knees are going to have that. Don't move like that. Don't straighten up as you go, and then bend. Now, there are a couple good reasons why you always want to have your knees bent. If you're up, you lack the power to move. You're going to have to drop your weight to be springy and go, okay? So if your knees are already bent, you're already in a position to push off and do your footwork because you're ready to go. Different weapons have different ways of holding your position, of course. We'll look at rapier and sword and buckler in just a second. But for longsword, we have our knees bent. Our shoulders are mostly lined up with the target, for example. I've got the sword in a position. I'm ready to go. I'm aggressive. Or maybe I'm trying to be a bit more defensive. So maybe I'm in a long point, but my knees are bent. I'm ready to move. I don't have to be up here and then drop my weight. Any martial art is all about shaving a tenth of a second off here and there and everywhere, because every little movement you can remove from your method makes you faster. I don't physically have to be able to move my fists faster. I just have to be more economic in my movement. So that is a good strike, but that is a faster strike because it's a shorter distance, for example. So having my knees bent is very good because I am ready. Now, weight distribution across your feet. You do not want to have all your weight on your front foot and very little on your back. And so we see people get tired and they lean and they do this. And if we're talking rapier, which is what our advanced class is doing in the club right now, a lot of times for rapier, you definitely want to make sure you have weight coming back. So your knees are bent, but your weight is more on your back foot. So I'm right-handed, so my right foot is forward. I have to be ready to lunge. If I am too far over, I don't have that power. I need to have some power. But of course, I'm hinging my hips. So basically, you bend your knees, you stick out your butt, you lean forward. If you look up Fabris, F-A-B-R-I-S, Salvatore Fabris, his manual in particular, you see lots of these cool poses, but a lot of Renaissance and early modern stuff for rapier fencing, it's going to have that stance. So you're pushing out, your knees are bent, your weight is a little bit more on your back foot than your front foot even, right? Because if I'm going to lunge, whatever guard position I want to be in, we won't get into the details too much, for example, but I need to be able to push off my back foot. My knees are bent and I am loaded up and my weight is distributed properly. That's going to work. I'm going to be able to make that lunge. If I don't have my knees bent and my weight distributed properly, I'm not going to do that. Lunging from here does not give me distance. Lunging from that position gives me a lot more power and speed. And speed wins sword fights. If we look at sword and buckler even, a lot of, especially earlier manuals, we're going to see that same thing. Knees bent, butt back, lean forward, weight distributed nicely, sometimes forward, but it also depends. Your weight's going to distribute depending on, are you doing lunging movements, are you doing passing steps, are you doing stutter steps. If you're doing passing steps, then you can have a bit more weight on the front foot, or you can be 50-50 or 60-40. That's fine, because I need to be stable on that front foot as I pass across. But if I'm doing stuttering steps or lunges, I need to have that weight at least evenly distributed or on that back foot so I can push off. But all through it, my knees are bent. I am springy. If I straighten up too much or I go on my tippy toes in the exchange, my balance is off. If my balance is off, my opponent can topple me over. And if my opponent topples me over, and I don't know how to fall, which is a whole other video, yeah, it could be bad. There could be injuries. And if you fight with your knees locked in an upright position, you're going to wear out your knees. You're going to injure yourself. So please, remember to bend your knees. It's important, okay? It's good form, good practice, good posture. And depending on the style of weapon you're studying, it'll determine whether you have a lean forward, whether you're pushing your butt out, but your knees are going to be ready and springy. Your weight is going to be distributed the way you need it for that system. That's good. You want to strengthen your knees. You don't have to be in the horse stance all the time, but you can do squats. That's not a squat. Make sure that you come down and up. Feel the burn in the muscles, in the glutes in particular. Get yourself going. You can do proper squats. A lot of people out there on the internet that can show you all the form for doing that, but it's good for your knees. So I try to do squats every day. Do 20 squats. Break it down. You're not used to it? Do 10. 10 is too tough. Do 5. And then do another 5. And then do another 5. Break them up. Space them out. But take care of your knees. Fencing of any kind, from Olympic sport fencing to historical fencing, European martial arts, or Eastern with weapon styles and stuff like that. Take care of your knees. You need to be flexible and bend. So my now lengthy public service announcement is please remember to bend your knees. Work on it. Do your squats. Do your stretches. Get warmed up. Get used to standing around in your classes with your knees bent. Whatever position, while you're waiting, while you're watching, hold a bit of a guard position. Get used to it, because this is going to make your fencing better, your martial arts better. It's going to make you a little bit faster. It's going to make you steadier, and it's going to help you avoid some injuries. So there you go. Bend your knees. My public service announcement for you today. And we are at 949 subscribers, so thank you for your subscriptions and your likes and your comments. They're all wonderful and help shape the channel. And until next time, please remember to take care, stay safe, bend your knees when you keep on swinging.